I'm going to go ahead and lighten this image up just a little bit, just overall lighten the image. And then what I want to do is just talk about, very quick, how we could just easily address this issue. We could just use the marquee tool to make a selection to right here and hit Control J or Apple J and put that information up on its own layer, and then go to Edit, Transform, Skew, and just scale that information this way in the image, and we would be done. And so I'm going to turn on a layer where I did that, turn that off and on a couple of times, and it's, to my eye, it's pretty amazing the difference that makes and overall in the image. Not only does it make a more pleasing relationship between that arm and the rest of this person's body and her face, it just makes the image overall more elegant in terms of the way that we move relative to quality of line, because we're getting rid of that flat negative space shape. And then from here, the changes that I would make would just have to do with this idea of continuing to lighten the image. So I'm going to turn on another layer where I'll lighten overall a good bit. And I also, on that same layer, I increased the saturation of this blue and the red here and the green in here, really trying to play that triad. I increased the saturation in her glasses. I increased the saturation in the lips, so that's sort of a separate place that you go to in the image as an idea, both just from a shape standpoint and form standpoint, and also from a color standpoint. And then I'm just going to show you two more tweaks here at the end, just continuing to sort of think about value adjustments and color adjustments based on balance. So now we're at this point where we've really lightened the image up quite a bit and changed the right hand side, and there's a lot that we could still do to this. I'm just going to do a couple of other things at the very end. I'll talk about some other things I might do if I really wanted to spend a lot of time with this image. One of the things that's happening right now is that this diagonal is playing very strong, but that play sort of ends down in here for me because of how dark this is. This has a lot more detail, but I really don't want this part to have detail because I would like for it to be more balanced with her hair moving on this line. And so that's just sort of my thinking about the changes that I made here. I'm going to brighten the bottom left corner, and you can see that texture in there, and the pattern rhymes the very top right hand corner of the image and also the glasses, so it creates more movement on that diagonal. And I'm going to darken that bottom right corner to try and keep the eye from going there as much, and that shape, that quality of line down there, can sort of rhyme and balance off of what's happening with the hair. And I do think you could keep going here. I mean, one of the things I think you could play around with is taking this information and duplicating it in a variety of ways to kind of cut down on the white up here, although there's so much contrast and there's a fair amount of balance, particularly in here, to be able to get away with this. So here's where we started, and let's see, here we go. Here's where we started, and here is where we ended up. Just do that one more time. See all the changes together. I love this portrait. I mean, I love it for a whole lot of reasons. I love teaching the Next Step workshop because people that take the workshop are generally just sort of amazed at least one thing about the workshop, which is that if you want to do portraits of people, all you have to do is just go somewhere where there are a lot of people and just be a little bit bold, and it's just sort of incredible what all can play out if you're willing to do that. And then if you start to add a few skills and a few techniques to just getting over your initial fear of approaching using things like prop, pretty amazing what you can do just shooting impromptu street portraits. So I love the gesture here. I love the energy here. I love the modeled sort of dramatic spotlight effect. Love the color. I want to say a big thank you to Flo for submitting this image to the Mindful Eyes Daily Critique.